People have passed CBT, people have passed their IELTS, but they are still struggling to get jobs. Why is that?
To say, hello, your interview is 9 o'clock, we're calling you. Of course, a lady in Nigeria where she said she was somewhere in a busy market, she did not.
You are saying that the COS, it takes only a day. But how come it takes people so long?
We cannot approach 7 people out of the 1,000 just to interview them the next couple of days. Just say that if you do not hear from us within the 2 to 3 weeks, please assume that you were not successful. And that's
Has your trust started recruiting Band 2 and Band 3 nurses from Africa or internationally, like senior care workers and care assistants? No.
Look at the mental health side of things. So I'm giving a tip here.
You said it before.
Hey, stop that. So hi YouTube family. Once again, my name is Nanelle Griselda. Today I have here a very special person. She's a member of the international recruitment team for an NHS trust. So today we'll be asking her all your burning questions, all of the questions that you guys ask me to ask, when I get someone like that on the platform. And Frey, I want to say that I'm so grateful. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Okay. I know that you're a busy person, you're a mom, and then with your position and all. So I'm so grateful. I just want you to briefly tell us something about yourself and then, what you do.
Okay, so everyone, hi, Nanelle's fans. My name is Frances. Everybody calls me Frey for short. So I've been a nurse for the last 16 years in the UK. I trained here. I'm originally from Ghana. I started off my journey from Band 2 to Band 8 now.
Wow.
Yeah. So I started interviewing. I've been interviewing for the last 3-4 years, but recently I have been interviewing international candidates since September. No, actually from June last year, basically because of the shortages. So, yeah.
Do you also have to look at their CV as well and then shortlist for the interview?
Yeah. Sometimes I shortlist and sometimes they send me a bulk of candidates that I need to prepare to interview. So I do take part in the whole process as well. My background is pediatric nursing. So I'm a peds nurse. I think during the pandemic, they started approaching the very senior staff to say, we need help here. Can somebody come and help us? And I genuinely took an interest because at the time, I received a bulk of candidates and they were mostly from Ghana and Nigeria, which is kind of interesting because obviously we want to see people win. We want to help people. But as a recruiter, I could not kind of prompt them. You have to kind of bring it on yourself. So yeah, we do look at both shortlisting, we look at the whole process and I interview as well.
Wow. So for those who don't know, she's Band 8. She's Band 8. She's Band 8. Well done. It's so impressive. I'm so proud of you. I like to see, fellow Ghanaians and then fellow, Blacks, going far. Yeah. Maybe you come back on the channel to talk more about that.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah. So today we're just going to ask you about the recruitment process. How large is the team for your trust?
So we have about 12 to 15. Prior to the pandemic, it was a really big team. And when the pandemic hit, the team went right down because people left their jobs and some people were not comfortable to come in. I mean, everything is done digitally, but it's a smaller team now. I think it's between 8 to 15, but with the odd of sick here and there. My trust, I can't name it, but it's a really huge trust with over 5,000 to 8,000 staff, from cleaners all the way to the CEO. So it's quite a big trust I work for.
I know you can't mention the name of the trust, but is it in England or?
Yeah, it's in London. Yeah, it's in London. Yeah.
Okay. So people are saying that trusts are rejecting people from some specific countries like Ghana, Nigeria, and all this red list and amber list thing. What can you say about that?
So I have to be honest, that is true. Okay. It is true because it's not every single NHS trust. As you're aware, we have to practice in line with the WHO and other government policies that is in place for recruitment of overseas nurses that are coming into the UK. So some NHS trusts find it very unethical to pull from these countries that are struggling. And some other NHS trusts are like, okay, we did not actively recruit them. They decided to come to us and we are happy to take them on. So I don't want anybody to be put off to say that, oh, they're only just taking the green list countries only. No, you need to shoot your shot. Give it a go because you just never know where you're going to be lucky. Because, for example, if somewhere, for example, Southampton let you down, you can go to Edinburgh, you can apply to Edinburgh, you can apply to London, anywhere. Send your CVs everywhere because if 50% are rejecting, the other 50 may say yes to them because you came to them, they didn't come to you. And that's what the red list is about. You have to do the legwork and go to them.
So if I understand you correctly, it's not like people from red list countries cannot apply. You can't still apply.
You can
some trusts are still saying that for them, they still believe it's unethical, so they are not going to recruit you. However, other trusts are still recruiting.
Oh yes. Yeah, don't be put off. I would say tell your followers that they have to put the application in everywhere. So if they look at jobs where it doesn't say certificate of sponsorship is available, still put it in. Because if you've got a good personal statement, there's no harm. You're just clicking that button to say, I'm giving it a try. If a recruiter looks at your application, they are touched by what they're seeing by the personal statement, they may overlook a lot of things and they may bring you in. So yes, don't be put off.
Wow. Aside trac.jobs, where can people find, NHS jobs? So
I would advise that I know a lot of people know the trac NHS jobs, but you can apply directly. So if you go to, let's say, Guy's in St. Thomas's Hospital in London, you can go to their website. I don't work there, but I'm using them as an example. You can go to their website directly, their staff nurse section, put your application in because they want it in that template format instead of a CV. And you can just send your application to them. And then people like me, we have a trac admin login. So people like me, we have a back, because when you're applying for a job, it gives you a trac login. We recruiters have got a different login where we can see the back office of things. They tend to like the templates in that format instead of just sending us a CV. So
what is template?
So you know how the NHS job has got their own stages of how to type in your details and how to, fill up the whole application. They like to print it off in that format. Instead of just sending your CV, because sometimes CV, you can miss certain things that we need. So if you were to send me a CV or send my colleague a CV, our protocol is to direct you back to the website so you can fill up the whole form there.
So you're advising people to just look for different trusts, go on their websites and apply.
Go onto the trust website. Some agencies, which people have to be very careful because some agencies are charging and there could be a scam. So you need to be very careful because for us NHS staff, we don't really charge. The process is done swiftly for you, So if you're using an agency, you have to be very careful who you're dealing with. If they start asking for money, it's not right. So there are some agencies on the green list that they are encouraging them to carry on. If you're paying, you have to be very, very careful because somebody's just probably duping you because they've seen that there's a healthcare visa window and everybody will set up small businesses and websites just to extract funds from you. You have to be very careful because the time I've been involved since last year, accommodation, everything, flights, transfer from the airports, everything is done by the NHS. Yes, so you should not be paying anyone.
So for your trust, do you pay for the visa and the flights of the person?
Everything. We pay for everything. The last cohorts that we had,
do you let the person pay and then when they come you refund or you pay
For flights, we will get the flights for you.
Okay.
For accommodation, you can get 1 month rent, full month you can stay in this accommodation. And then they give you the option that you want to carry on staying there. This is how much it costs if you want to carry on staying there after 1 month. But because by that time you would have earned an income. But if it's too expensive for you, the trust can also help you with the pastoral team where they help overseas nurses to go and rent somewhere, how to open bank accounts and all of those stuff. They will help you to do that. So we cover everything. The only thing that you may have to pay and get reimbursed is some of the CBT. Some trusts will actually pay your CBT back for you. So it's really exciting at this time anyway, you should not fall through the agency system where people will extract money from you.
Thank you for saying that because I'm always saying that. But then you have people, our people now, they can be sometimes desperate and then they'll tell you, no, I'm ready to pay anything. Just help me. I'm like, no, I can't. So if let's say there's a vacancy in your trust and then you put it on trac.jobs, okay? Yeah. And then you let people fill the form and then, submit their CV, blah, blah, blah. Usually, how long does it take you to shortlist?
Okay, so we have a window of 14 days. So if we put an advert out today, 14 days, we have to pull the advert out. Okay. It will automatically do it because when we're typing it in, 14 days, it gives you a 2-week window. It gives people a chance to type their job description and the personal statements and whatnot in there. So after 14 days, it expires. And then after it's expired, it is pulled off the system. Then it comes to us and we will get a list of how many people applied. And it's not just the trac. It will pull off from everywhere we put the advert, even LinkedIn as well. So don't forget LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a good place to meet the recruiters as well. So after we get all the applicants, usually with the overseas nurses, when you're talking about hundreds to thousands, a lot of people apply. So when people feel like it's taking forever, it's not because recruiters are sitting around doing nothing. We cannot approach 7 people out of the 1,000 just to interview them the next couple of days. We really have to go through every single application and know who we are shortlisting. So it's quite a lot of things.
I don't envy your position at all.
And, you know, it's kind of hard because we just want to speed things up because we're desperate, you know, as the government has pledged to, you know, fill 50,000 positions by the end of this year. Yes, the government had pledged, and we don't know whether this will happen by the end of the year. Only God knows. But it takes a long time to shortlist. And after we've done this shortlisting, we shouldn't keep it too long. We're supposed to be moving really quickly. Again, with the recruitment team, staffing themselves, sickness and all that, we are short staffed. So it takes a bit longer. And then we have to kind of vet the process. So there's a lot of vetting going on. There's no discrimination. It's just that when you're somewhere telling us you have a hospital, let's say in Kintampo, for example, we have no idea. My colleagues don't have a clue what that hospital is. We have to do a lot of digging to make sure that the information on the system, all the checks have been done before we send out interview invites. Yeah.
That can take a while.
It does. It's a lot of work involved. So sometimes people are emailing me, we've not heard anything, we haven't heard anything, but we say, look, be patient. We will shortlist at the time and you will hear from us if you've been shortlisted, basically. Yeah.
Wow. So there's no set time like to wait because it's but it can always change.
Earlier or later, yeah.
Yeah. What do you look out for in the CV to shortlist people?
Okay, so with the CVs, if you're putting your application in, make sure you have taken a good look at the job specification, okay?
Good. Mm-hmm.
Job specification is everything. You literally have to, as I'm reading personal statements, I'm looking at the personal statements and linking it with the job spec. If I can't see anything in the job spec in your personal, you know, statement or your job application form, it's kind of hard for me to shortlist you because you do not meet the criteria.
Exactly.
Okay? And sometimes people rush and they click send when they've actually not filled up anything. Secondly, I would say that always look at the company you're applying to. If you're applying to a hospital in, let's say, Edinburgh or Birmingham, go to their website and look at their values. Sometimes we ask people do not understand the values. It's very important because I've interviewed people from Ghana or Nigeria where we ask them a question, tell us about the trust values. And they're just like, no idea. You need to understand the company you're applying to, what their values are, and what is the expectation of you, you know, as a band 5 nurse, what is expected of you. You need to be able to put your application in a sense that the experience we're looking for, you've got it. The education, you've got it. You've got your PIN in your home country, okay? You've done your IELTS or your CBT, even better, okay?
I always say they don't understand. Somebody can't submit their CV and then let's say get shortlisted for an interview and then they're asking me, but I haven't done my IELTS, so what do I tell them? I'm like, why are you spoiling other people's chances? You know, finish everything before you submit.
You're not rushed, because I feel that when you rush and they push you aside, there's nothing they can do for you if you haven't done your CBT and you're out. It's a requirement. It's a visa requirement. It's an NMC requirement, or it's a basic requirement. So do those two. Even if you're working and you're thinking about it in a year, just do it now. Leave it in 2 months. You'll be ready, and you can just pick it up and apply. So it's very, very important. And when you've got all of those, that you've got a whole package, we are happy to deal with you.
So you've mentioned, people tailoring their CV to meet the job specification of that particular role that's being advertised, and then they check in the website of the trust, their values and all that. And then what else?
They need to make sure that they understand the NMC code of conduct, the standards, the trust policies, have an idea of what is required of them, basically. So if you know the standards, you know roughly what the NMC is required of you, because some of the things that is required of you in your home country might be mostly totally different from what we take as a standard with the NMC in the UK. For example, as you know, this country, we don't mess with safeguarding, okay? We don't mess with safeguarding at all. If we give you a safeguarding question, or in your scenario, if your role, you have to mention safeguarding. If there's been times I ask people like, oh, you came on a shift and this elderly person's got a bruise on their whatever, what would you do? And then people do not have a clue. The first thing they'll probably say, I'll report to the manager, and that's it, which is good, fine. But there's more to that answer, Are you going to document it? Are you going to measure the size of it? Are you going to try and prod and see where the injury came from? Are you going to do your risk and false assessment? These are things that I would want people to have that vim to talk about, And it's very competitive. Don't think that They're doing things anyhow. Let's say there's 100 people, yeah? You want to be the first one. Get the hook. If I read your personal statement, the first paragraph, I just want that hook where I'm like, let me read some more, But if the person has got something that the vibe is not there. Yeah. So you need to get it right from the beginning so that they are interested and they will put you in that box where we're going to deal with you later. Like we're going to invite you to the interview. Yeah.
So usually after, let's say you shortlist the CVs and then you give them dates for the interview and then you have now you've mentioned some of the things that you look out for in the interview as well. After the interview, how long does it take you to, get back to them, tell them how it went?
That is a tricky one as well because everything is so slow. Because things like applying for COS can take a day to apply from our end here. But when we don't tell them straight away because we have to make sure we've interviewed everybody. Okay. Yeah. So with jobs, we interview everyone, including the locals. Yeah. So if we have registered nurses here, we interview them as well. We interview anyone that has put an application in. And then we use a score system. Okay. So we score. If it's usually it's about 10 questions. Okay. So if we have 10 questions and there's 3 people on the panel, we're all going to score. And then after we've scored the overall number, so let's say this person got 30 out of 50, 50 out of 50, 40 out of 50, we will try and sieve it down to the people that got the highest score. And then we line it up with how many departments we need to recruit for. So if we're recruiting for, let's say, 30 departments, but we need, let's say, 110 nurses, we're not going to be desperate just to take people on for the numbers. We need to make sure we're doing this safely. Okay, so it can take around, ideally by a week or 2 to know that you've been successful. But the process of getting you into the UK can take up to 6 months.
Okay. If I understand you well, you're saying that after the interview, everybody on the panel scores based on, how you're able to impress them. And then you pick those that had the highest score. Yes. But even with that, you don't contact them immediately because you have to interview every other person whose CV was shortlisted, and that can take a while.
Yes.
Okay. So if someone does not go to the next stage, let's say they are not able to impress you at the interview stage, do you get back to them to let them know
Our trust actually we do our best to get back to people. We do.
Because some people don't hear from the trust and then they are worried.
They are worried. Some companies will have it on their website because of the amount of applicants that they receive. They will just say that if you do not hear from us within the 2 to 3 weeks, please assume that you were not successful. And that's what you have to just take it as it is and move on to the next recruiter because they just don't have time. They just don't have time, yeah.
So let's say you give 50 people offer letters after the interview. You are saying that the COS, it takes only a day. But how come it takes people so long?
It takes long because it's from our end and your end, there's a lot of checks that we have to do. Basically like a case or a folder for every single overseas nurse applicant. They open a case for you and then they just gather as much information as possible. We want to make sure you are who you say you are. So there's a lot of background work that goes on that you do not see. Okay. So if your local Ministry of Health has not released you with the letter and all that, it's kind of hard because, for example, we need to be able to make sure we've ticked off every single safety bits before we put this COS through.
Okay.
And it's a day. It's a day because when you look at the UKVI, they just sit there, receive this on a daily basis, and then they go through on their board who they are offering this COS to, blah, blah, blah. I know how the system works. But some people, it takes a while because one, we haven't got certain information back from them. They haven't got A, B, C, D. So sometimes the process can be so long for some people. And for others, it's just boom, they just got access to it. And then they just, people from the green list country, they tend to process them even faster.
Okay.
Yes.
So what can I do as an applicant to, hasten my process?
With the process, you can't really pay or help us in any of these stages. So what we expect of you as an individual is to make sure you have your IELTS, your CBT, got all your transcripts ready, all your certificates ready, your Ministry of Health, if you have any control of applying to get them to release you with a letter and all those other bits, you need to do that side of the legwork.
Do you mean the National Military Council in your home country?
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The other thing as well is that most of my African applicants, they tend to put certain addresses. For example, number 1, Kotoka. Yeah. They don't put that this person, Mr. Boateng, is my so-and-so, and this is Mr. Boateng's email. On the reference section, they will just put number 1, Kotoka. That information doesn't mean anything. Because in this day and age, we do not write letters. We email for references. If you can get a professional reference, amazing. Usually, we don't like the Gmail references. We don't like your Gmail references at all. We prefer professional reference because anybody can set up a Gmail account. If you know, we tend to get a lot of references from doctors because it's how Ghana and Nigeria, they operate, or, even in India, we get a lot of references from doctors as well. Make sure that the is on the company headed letter and it's been stamped and signed to make sure it's official. These are things that can delay everything. If your reference is not good, if we haven't received it, it could be good, but we haven't received it to our standard, we can't move forward. So you can do a lot of legwork. Before you apply, you can just go and tell your manager that I'm thinking of applying this, so please, can you do my reference now? Can you do this? Please help me out, stamp it, sign it, make it ready, and then this will be great. So it's little things that can delay the process. Some people have got 6 months, less than 6 months on their passport. You haven't renewed it. It does not make sense.
I keep saying this.
This can be from your side. It could be from the NHS Trust side as well.
Has your trust started recruiting Band 2 and Band 3 nurses from Africa or internationally, like senior care workers and care assistants? No, you haven't started.
The reason why, if you look at the UKVI, they are expecting people to be earning 20,480. If you look at the agenda for change, the pay steps, a Band 2 is earning 18,000.
Okay.
A Band 3 is earning 19,000. It's impossible if you will not meet the criteria. I would probably advise that people look at the mental health side of things. So I'm giving a tip here. For the senior Band 3s, look at mental health jobs on the NHS website, because mental health right now, they are desperate. Okay, so if you give mental health a shot, you probably might be lucky, because with mental health, they are happy to pay Band 3 and higher, and usually the salary is above 21. You may be able to get the opportunity to be shortlisted in mental health.
And then private companies as well.
Private companies, yes, care homes, all the private companies. Yeah.
Okay. There's this list of emails that's circulating, okay, email addresses, and then whoever did that list said it belongs to recruiters, like individual recruiters in NHS Trust, okay? So let's say your email could be on that list. Your email could be on that list. It's a long list.
Okay.
And I'm just asking, let's say I have your email and then I know you're a recruiter and I send my CBT personally. Does that increase my chances?
No. So what it is that I've had people email me personally, directly, because I've either met them at a recruitment fair and they've sent me their CV directly. So when I look at it, and I say, okay, this person is very good, we should give them a chance, I can always forward it to somebody senior or somebody who's actually at the time, because sometimes it's not always me or somebody that's dealing with recruitment on that particular week or day. It could be somebody else. You could be on annual leave. I can forward it to somebody to say, can you look at this? Because I think this individual is very good. But again, you're going to be sent back to our company website for you to type up all your information in that process, because the CV alone is not enough, because there's some questions they ask about certain declarations that you have not even typed that information on your CV. So you need to be able to use our own templates on the website. Yeah.
Okay.
If the CV comes and is good, we can push it.
So can you mention, let's say, just about 3 or 4 top reasons why people are usually unsuccessful with the application?
I would say that they come in unprepared. When we look at the application form, it's not done properly. Personal statement is a couple of lines done. You can actually write up to 500 words or more. It gives you the opportunity to write as many as possible. Make sure whatever you're writing in your personal statement is linked to the person specification. Make sure that, again, you've done your CBT and IELTS. Make sure that you screen through before you click declaration section to say send. Make sure you've looked at your spelling errors, and all of those things actually is very important. So this is what will just make sure it will put people off. Your command of English is not good. If you're typing backwards and it just doesn't make sense, is a prime example that you will not be able to do your nursing documentation if you can't even express it. It's true. So this is just a prime example. And it's not a discriminatory. I want people to realize that the red list versus the amber and the green, there's no discrimination, okay? It's just that we have to put resources in place. If you're sick in Nigeria or Ghana, you go to hospital and we've taken all of the nurses to the UK, it would not make sense. This is why WHO has put these things in place. So if you're going to use your own will to approach us and come to us, we will give you a chance, but you have to do due diligence and make sure you've done all your bits to put your foot forward, to make sure that you shine when we're going through all the applications. So yes.
My time free, it was quite easy. I didn't struggle. I had 2 job offers that I had to choose from. These days, it's not like that. Meanwhile, the UK is still saying they are desperate for nurses. Why is that? People have passed CBT, people have passed their IELTS, but they are still struggling to get jobs. Why is that these days?
Again, it could be that as I said earlier, some of the companies are going down the unethical pathway where they just want to focus on just the Philippines and Malaysia and even some parts of India. These are the two countries that they are desperate for and they want. However, I feel we need a CV workshop for some of our African brothers and sisters, okay? Because I trained in this country. In my 3rd year, we had career professionals that were able to help us put our CV together. They tend to coach us how to talk in an interview, how to present yourself. Now, let me give you an example. On my own personal phone, I've had to call people with my own WhatsApp number. I have proof of it on my WhatsApp to say, hello, your interview is 9 o'clock, we're calling you. I've called a lady in Nigeria where she said she was somewhere in a busy market. She did not pitch up. I've called somebody in Ghana. And for example, internet connection is a problem, yeah? Sometimes it's not your fault. It's the country, it's a problem. But there was a lady I interviewed that we had to offer her a job. The lady shocked me. Do you know what she did? Her internet was not good. She begged us. She said, can you just give me 5 minutes? Oh. And then we said, where were you? She ran to the neighbor's house where they had good internet. Good internet, because that's how dedicated she is from Nigeria. She went over to the neighbor's internet to tap in. She interviewed and she interviewed well. So this isn't a prime example. At the time that this interview was taking place, the internet connection was really bad. So we had to check the weather in Nigeria and there was a torrential rain. So I knew clearly that we have to give this woman a chance because she was good. But there are times where people do not make the effort. I'm the one chasing them. And, you know, our recruitment team will email people a day before. Okay. Yeah, we tell them even sometimes an hour before that, hey, have you managed to go? You've got the link, you've got the Zoom link. Yes, we've got it. And they agree that they're happening. The interview is taking place. On the day, no show.
Really?
Yes. Yes, I'm telling you. So I know your followers are serious people. So I really do not know the people who are who are coming to us. But these are some of the things that I have witnessed with my own 2 eyes. So I'm speaking from experience that we've offered jobs in the past. I would not lie to you. We have said yes to so many people. And as I speak today, they are still with the organization. And obviously many more to come in the near future. But I would just suggest that people need to work on themselves professionally, okay? If there's some things you need to do, if you need help in terms of your personal statement, practice writing your personal statement. Go online. You don't have to copy because you'll be caught. Make sure you write things. Make sure you write things that you have experienced. Or if you haven't experienced, you can say that I'm looking forward to this experience. And finally, the other thing is that when we interview people, we ask them simple questions like, what are some of the challenges that you think you will face moving to the UK? People cannot even give simple answers like even the weather. You know, we want you to, it's not even a serious question. We just want to know what are some of the challenges you think you face, or the culture, the language, this. People struggle. So I think that we need to do our homework. I am happy to support people, but obviously I'm a busy woman.
We need you back on the channel, please, 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 please.
Let's do one on interview practices, you know?
Yes, honestly.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of work we need to do. A lot of work. And I wish people the best because the doors are open. They need to get it in. Don't be put off. There are so many NHS trusts here, you know, so many NHS trusts. If door A is closed, door B will be open. Keep pushing. Send the CVs in everywhere. Apply everywhere. Don't be put off because one day, one door will open.
Definitely open. Thank you so much, Free. Personally, I have even learned a lot. Please, when we call you back, please honor our invitation and then come back to help us like interview skills. And then, you know what? I'm so grateful. Thank you.
If I hear any gist as well, I'll email you so you can share it with the team. All right?
Thank you so much. You know, I wish maybe I was coming to London soon, and then with the interview, maybe like I would act like an applicant, and then you ask me questions, and then let's say you judge.
One of these days we should do that. We can film me interviewing you.
Yes, and then I would
Yeah, that would be lovely.
Yeah, and then you can judge me, and then score me, and then tell people what I did wrong and what I did not do wrong. So
I'm happy to put a team together. Don't worry. Whenever you're ready, you decide to come to London.
Yes. Thank you so much, Free. The next time, I'm hoping that maybe in some months' time or in a year time, maybe you be in Band 9 and then you come on the channel again. Thank you so much. Thank you for making us proud.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.